Hey Chelsea fans, welcome to CFC Unfiltered. I'm your host Anirudh, and CFC Unfiltered is a channel for Chelsea fans by a Chelsea fan. And in this channel, I'll give you my unbiased and unfiltered opinion on all things Chelsea, be it the latest transfer stories, rumors, and stories emerging in and around the club, or be it my pre-match and post-match thoughts. So before further ado, let's get started. Now, Chelsea fans, this is a brand new channel, only a few days old. So please do give it some love by giving it a like, sharing, and of course subscribing and the bell notification icon if of course you do like the content, of course. So because every bit of support helps. So yeah, do give it a shot, and I'm sure if you do, you will like the content and love it. So, before further ado, let's move on to what exactly are the stories for today's video. So, one thing we will try to understand why Garnacho only wants Chelsea. So, something has emerged, only recently. What's going on there? So, why exactly could be the reason? So, some things have started to come out, and we'll discuss that and what exactly is going on. Further ago, there was Fofana Instagram fiasco yesterday. So what really is going on there? Is he looking for a move? Is he looking to stay? What is going on? And of course, there are two transfer stories which I'd like to discuss. One is Renato Veiga, right? Uh, and another is Enciso. If you remember him, he played for Brighton. He was at Ipswich on loan last season. So we will discuss him now, and of course, very soon after you'll get another video because Chelsea have match day tomorrow. So I'll give you my thoughts on that as well in the upcoming video. But in this video, these will be the transfer stories we will be discussing. There are, of course, more transfer stories that we need to discuss and we will discuss. But in this video, these are the focus, and then we will move on to some of the stories. So, yeah, let's just get started. So, let's first start with Renato Veiga, basically. So, I reported this in my last video regarding Veiga. Basically, Villareal basically came for him. He had agreed personal terms, and now it looks that a deal has happened because here we go yesterday. The deal is around 29 million euros, and that is including add-ons. And apparently, Chelsea have a huge sell-on clause. Uh, it could be approximately 40%. So Chelsea can make. Depending on some conditions and some formulas, Chelsea can make a lot of money still after Veiga is sold when his stock rises, apparently in Villareal. Now, if you remember Veiga, he was a player at Basel. We got him for about 12 million euros, so it's first of all, it's good business. He started one game for us, that was against Bournemouth. He played well, right? Now, and he started a lot of conference league games for us, in different positions because he was a good utility player, and that is what he came in, and that was what the expectations, and it was made clear to him. So there was no miscommunication in that respect. Um, so he played a lot of different positions, and he wanted to play center back, left center back. So of course that was Levi Colwell's position. And of course, Maresca most likely said to him, "Be patient, and we will see as the time progresses and as you understand more and more about what we expect here." One thing he should have understood that he's coming to Chelsea. He's coming to a top premium club, right? And you just don't get into a starting lineup straight away unless you are 50 million, 100 million transfer person who is going to be go straight into the team, and that was apparently made clear to him, right? uh, you're not an Eden Hazard ilk type of player or someone like I said who will go straight into the team. So you have to bide your time and you have to then take opportunities as they come along. And if that had went on for multiple seasons, and then maybe you can understand that if he's frustrated. But this was 6 months coming in. Uh, he went on loan to Juventus. There was apparently in the middle of it, Chelsea wanted a permanent transfer. He was like, no, I want to stay at Chelsea, this or that. The deal was negotiated with Juventus that the loan will end before the Club World Cup. And I was actually under the impression, along with every other Chelsea fan, that he was going to the Club World Cup. And then he didn't go. Apart from, I think, Andre Santos, everybody else went, right? And Veiga was basically left down. And when Levi Colwill injury happened, and Maresca basically went to talk about he wants center back, right? And the briefs coming out of the club was that do with what you have already. And then there were some Chelsea affiliated journalists basically suggesting that um, Chelsea are asking for Maresca to basically reintegrate Veiga because he can do maybe the left centre back position. But apparently the bridges was too burned. Maresca just didn't want him because clearly something happened in around that January transfer window, because bridges have been burned by this player because he was not patient enough. He was just too much of a hustler. He thought he was bigger than the club, which, I mean, he should have never gone and thought about that. And I think he just thought he was just going to play all sides and get the best out of that. And he just overplayed his hand clearly, because relationship has been so much broken that Maresca was under didn't want him at all. He was not having him, and now he's going and agreeing. Veiga has been agreeing personal terms with everyone, and even with Villareal, who are a decent club, who are a good club. Don't get me wrong, they're a good club, but they're not, at the premium level. He's not going to the top three Spanish clubs. He's not going to one of them. He's going to Villareal, who may finish fourth, may finish fifth, something like that. So in and around. So this, I mean, if he was a bit patient, I think he would have played a big part in Club World Cup. He would be starting right now in Levi Colwill's position, but he just overplayed his hand, and Chelsea do not want him and it's not completely unforeseen because he apparently has a hot temperament. So yeah, it is what it is. Now hopefully Chelsea have gotten a good value out of him, and when his stock inevitably rises, I think Chelsea will most likely get more in terms of his upcoming sales percentage of sales. So yeah. Now I'd like to talk to you about another defender. So Wesley Fofana, remember we signed him about 3 seasons ago. He was, I think, one of the first signings of the Boli Clear Lake era. And then he just, got injured. And, there was a stat that, he has been more injured than he has made appearances. He has made about more than 30 appearances in 3 seasons. That's really bad, right? I mean, 1 season he was completely out of it. That's an SNL, so it's really 2 seasons. I think he made more appearances last season than under Pochettino. He has apparently rebuilt his body, which took some doing, and I just hope now he is more fit. So the fiasco happened, yesterday, when he basically, removed all Chelsea affiliated activities regarding his Instagram account, and then everybody was panicking, right, about what is happening. and then it came out that he's not pushing to leave or anything like that. He's just someone else also manages his Instagram account, and they were just rearranging some stuff and basically realigning some stuff. So it's just that, nothing more. And he's not pushing to leave. And he apparently, got some abuses, racist abuse, which is something you should never do to anyone, right? Uh, but I would also say it is also partially this racist abuse or this panic. I mean, we'll come to Fofana, what Fofana should or should not be doing, but I would say about these Chelsea accounts, don't spread panic. Report it. Yes, he's doing this, and but then don't start creating stories, right, about what is happening, that's this and that, without knowing what exactly is happening, because you can't be, this impatient that you can wait a few hours, okay, and understand what the brief is coming out from journalists and Chelsea about what is really going on with the player, what is the situation like, right? So you can go and understand that. So, and it was just a simple rearrangement. So, try and, don't be so reactionary, and, try and keep calm and understand what is going on before reacting. Before reacting. And once the situation has transpired and once you know the full reality of the situation, then you can react, right? But not before that. Not before that. So, and coming to Fofana, I think he should be a little less on socials and a little more on, being on the pitch more than on his socials. And I hope, really hope that this season we get more of Fofana, because he is potentially a fantastic centre back. We have all seen everyone rave about him, what he can be. You know, he can be, our Saliba. That is what his potential is like. He just has to stay fit. So I hope that he does this season, and we get to see Fofana, of who we invested about 70 million pounds. That's a huge transfer fee for a defender. So I hope we get to see, him being more on the pitch and performing at the level that we want. Hopefully we will this season, and get to see more of him. I personally hope we get to see him about 35, 40 matches. That is my personal hope, expectations. So yeah, hope there's best of luck to him at Chelsea, and let's hope to see more of him. Now moving on, I'd like to talk to you about ongoing saga with Garnacho. Now this has come out recently. Basically, what is going on is that we have heard this story about Garnacho only owns Chelsea from Romano from a little bit while, and even Bayern contacted him about 72 hours ago, and he said, "Yeah, I only want Chelsea. I'm not going anywhere else." He has made it clear, United, and he has rejected a number of clubs for Chelsea. Now this is coming out. This is a recent picture. This is of Garnacho apparently wearing a Chelsea affiliated jacket, right? In a family trip with his family a few years ago. This is before, way back when. And when this came out, of course, some people were like, "Is this real? Is this digitally altered or something like that?" But if you look at the you can see in the second image that this is an actual image of Garnacho, and this is him actually wearing a Chelsea jacket. Now this could be just that he happened to be wearing a Chelsea jacket, and he has several cups with him. It wouldn't be unnatural, right? That can happen, but it could also be that he is actually a Chelsea fan. That he happened to be a Chelsea fan growing up, and now when the possibility has arisen for him to go to Chelsea and Chelsea want him, he wants to come to Chelsea or to play for his boyhood club. Of course, the theory is United fans have gone with is that he wants to prove United and Amarin wrong. And of course, this is another theory that he's actually a Chelsea fan, and I think both can be true. I think it can be that he wants to come to Chelsea and play for his boyhood club, and also could be that he wants to prove Man United and Amarin wrong. And I think that could definitely be the case. So this story maybe makes sense more of why he only wants Chelsea, why he is convinced that Chelsea is a club for him, and this could be why. Right now, I want to discuss further about Garnacho. Is that in since the weekend, uh, when the football finished, we started hearing more and more rumors. So first of all, when we saw the match against Crystal Palace, first of all, a lot of people were convinced from Chelsea after looking at Gittins that he's a bit raw, and that maybe he needs help. Uh, bit with Garnacho. And that's completely understandable, right? Gittins has a high ceiling, but he's a young and raw player, and it may take him some time to adapt to PL, Premier League, and you probably need someone who has done that at Premier League level. And Garnacho fits that bill. He's young, his high ceiling, and his Premier League experience. Even though last season was not the best case scenario, and a lot of people go on to that in terms of in the in one-on-one situations he was pretty bad. His outcomes he created were pretty bad. So it was not the best season for him, but he is still at a high ceiling. And Chelsea hierarchy is coming from people like Matt Lowe and Simon Johnson, who are saying that Chelsea feel that in a better environment, Garnacho most likely performs better, has a better attitude, and has better application, right? And I believe that can be true because we've seen a lot of toxicity in United. That's not unsurprising. We have seen that with a lot of players, right? So that might be the case. Now a lot of briefings have started come out from United side and then from the Chelsea side. So from United, and this seems to be a game of positioning because United affiliate journalists are basically coming out and basically they are saying that United value Garnacho as 50 million, right? And they see Noni Madueke's transfer to Arsenal, what Chelsea did, about 52 million. So they see that as a benchmark, and that is why their valuation is that. Now, then there is Chelsea affiliated. That Chelsea are not willing to meet the 50 million valuation. They're not willing to meet United in their terms. And then basically they see Garnacho's valuation around 25 million or 30 million or something like that. There was even a joke by some Chelsea account that had created from Fabrizio Romano that Chelsea are preparing a bid. I'm not sure if it's joke or if it's real. If it's real, wow. But he said basically Chelsea are preparing a bid for Garnacho for a 10 million pound fee with 2 million add-ons, so 12 million pounds in total. So I found that funny. But I mean, that's just a situation that both sides are basically creating these briefings, are creating basically as a part of this negotiation tactics that Chelsea are creating their briefings that they are going to pay around 25-30 million and United like 50 million. And of course, a lot of Chelsea accounts focus and talk about and reinforce Chelsea's stance, and a lot of United fans and accounts, of course, support their club, right? Understandably so. So, if you look at, if you go back a bit in timeline and you observe what's going on with this Garnacho saga, so Fabrizio Romano had started talking about Garnacho a lot. I think especially after the non-Madueke transfer happened. Keep an eye on Garnacho, keep an eye on Garnacho, keep an eye on Garnacho. This kept happening, but there was no official movement, right? But then when the Sesko deal went through for United, Chelsea suddenly became activated. Now this is important because right after that, Chelsea became official talks. Why? Because timing is important. So if you look at some of the briefs that are coming from United and United affiliated accounts, so they could only buy Bueno and Cunha, uh, and after that they had to do some player sales in order to buy, right? And they have made no player sales apart from the Rashford loan to Barcelona. They have made no player sales. Sancho things has fallen through. They haven't done anything with anything. Garnacho has basically said no to every club, and that includes Bayern Leverkusen, Bayern Munich, Napoli, and some others. And there's, I think, one other, Malaysia or something like that. So these are players that United are looking to sell, and basically these players are making sure that they want to they want a particular solution, and they're forcing the club's hand. And United are not particularly good sailors as well, so they have been unable to find a solution. Now, what happened with the Sesko deal after Newcastle United getting rejected in Joao Pedro, then Atitike, they went desperate. They went gung ho and they went for Sesko also because of the Isaac situation saga going on. So they went really desperate. And in this desperatedness tried to agree the fee, right? And of course, many people were finding it difficult. How exactly are they going to pay for this amount? Because they had to, they have to make some sales do that sort of deal. Um, and then, of course, Man United, looking at this deal, got desperate. There's no other way to put it. Now, the United fans are not going to agree. They're going to say, no, that is not the case. We need to do that. But I think one of United's Laurie Whitwell, I think is the name. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But he's a United affiliated journalist who basically said that basically United are doing some sort of credit rule, and basically they do have to sell. So the finances won't add up. They will have to sell, and basically Chelsea, I think, are counting on that, and that is why I believe that this deal, when Sesko went through, Chelsea suddenly became active. Also, the Baliba thing then became activated. A lot of journalists were talking about it, but that deal was never going to happen because Man United were counting on youth sales, and then Believer deal maybe can happen, and then maybe they were thinking, if it's somewhere around, maybe Brighton will cut us a slack and we'll get the price down, and maybe Believer will force a move and we'll get about 60, 70 billion, and that was never going to happen. And maybe we'll pay him like 10 million, 10 million, 10 million, something like that, because that seems to be the Ratcliffe way of doing things. But what I believe happened was, yeah, sorry about that. But what I believe is that after this Sesko deal happened, they have become a bit desperate. They need to sell. And I think the Baliba thing might have been just to get United fans excited, just to, renew their season tickets and basically buy some merchandise and something like that. So this might just be a tactic. I heard Mark Goldbridge saying something like that in United Stand. So that might be the case. So we will see how this happens. But what I see is how Chelsea have gone about it right after Sesko believe. I think they believe that United will be forced to sell because Garnacho will be a pure profit. So they'll bank the total money. United, of course, want to sell at a higher price because then maybe they're able to go after some of their other targets. But I think Chelsea are, that's why they're delaying it, because they believe that United will be forced to sell at a lower price. Also, the situation with their other players doesn't help United because they're unable to sell Anthony, despite some of the briefings coming out of United that they have uh, told Anthony that you'll have to accept, and he's apparently not accepting, and he only wants Mattis, and Mattis are probably going to come at the end of the season for a loan for him. Is the same thing situation with Sancho. He's rejecting everything left, right, and center. He recently just rejected Roma. So that is not helping United because he has said that it's going to be my terms and he's most likely going to just going on a loan, and basically he wants his pay completely. That is why he didn't agree anything with Chelsea. That's why he didn't agree anything with Juventus, and that's why it's not with Roma or any other club. I think they'll just go end up going to some club at some loan, and he wants, and then end up going on free because he wants his full paycheck. And I think he has made it clear it's going to be my terms only. Uh, and Garnacho the same thing. He's basically said, I'm not accepting any other club, any other thing other than Chelsea. So United, I feel, will be forced to sell in Chelsea's terms, not in their terms. As the time progresses, I think Chelsea's calculation is United will get more and more desperate because they'll be forced to sell just to balance the book because I think they are overstretched themselves with the Fiasco deal. I think just needed to make some sales before bringing Fiasco, which is kind of what Chelsea are doing, by the way, because they could bring in Simmons, they could bring in Garnacho, but I think it's not. Despite some people saying that we have to sell to buy, I I heard Alex Goldberg and he said he has spoken to someone in Chelsea hierarchy, someone with authority, and and they said to him that that's suddenly not the case. So what I understand is happening is that Chelsea do not want the values of these players, Nkunku and Jackson, to go down. So what they want is some sales so that they can get these outcomes and it looks better, and they can get maximum price for these players. So I think that is what is happening with the Garnacho saga, and I think overall Chelsea will get their way through. Now another discussion point I like to talk about is Enciso. If you remember him, he's a player that played for Brighton, right? Last season he was at loan in Ipswich, and he has just been brought by BlueCo. This is basically ownership group which owns Chelsea and Strasbourg. So he has been bought for Strasbourg around 20 million euros, with including add-ons. The base fee is about 12 million euros. So it's a good fee for a good player with good potential, high ceiling. Chelsea internally, in terms of their thinks he can be as good as Kevin De Bruyne, who's I think is one of our major regrets of why we let him go. Because in his case, for me personally, it was evident that I think he's the only player I truly regret. Although Benjel Quadra, we brought Romelu Lukaku. I don't regret him. I don't regret selling Salah because he was never going to be that player he is at Liverpool unless he left Chelsea. But what I regret with Kevin De Bruyne was that he was never given an opportunity. He had the right attitude, and he would have the right application. Clearly had the talent, and we never provided an opportunity. So I think that was something that I was always angry with Jose Mourinho from the start. And then of course he proved why it was a mistake when he did what he did at Man City when he came back from Germany. So moving on, in this case, I would just say that he's a good player with high ceiling. It's also a low risk signing because it's low fee. He goes to Strasbourg at a low pressure environment. He can develop, he can play, he can, and if he has, let's say, a good season or two, I think that he comes to Chelsea. If it doesn't, then we sell him for some profit or something like that, because that's what the Chelsea model is. Either you're good enough at Chelsea or you'll be sold. And I think that is what the rule is. Also, you have to remember that we are being quite creative in the way we operate in terms of transfers. A lot of people are getting a lot of burns with this, right? How this is happening? How is this fair? But the thing is, we are being creative in how we do transfers, and others don't like it because their clubs can't, right? Another thing is, since we don't bring as much as match revenue compared to some of the clubs, and we still don't have a sponsor. Hopefully, we'll get it soon. So, because of that, we have to be quite creative in way we bring in, and that's why we are seeing this model of we are bringing in young players. Because I saw, why we are not. We could have maybe gone for Eze. I think we did ask about Eze and his deal conditions once upon a time, but I think the thing is that with Eze, I think he's 27, around 27, if I have the data correctly. So he has no resale value if things go wrong, if things don't work out. Whereas with these young players, if things don't work out, you can, resell them on a profit, which is what we're doing. If it works out, great, then you'll be given, top dollar, top, you'll have top salary, you'll be top weekly wages, you'll be one of the superstars. And we are seeing that philosophy being implemented, that if you do well, you don't have to ask twice. We will give you those contracts in which you're one of the highest earners in the club and at the in the Premier League and in football in general. So, and we're seeing that, we saw that with Cucurella, we saw that with Palmer. I'm sure we'll see that with Caicedo and uh, most likely Enzo Fernandez. I'm sure we'll see with some of our other players who are becoming untouchable. So if you're at that level, you'll get, that pay rise. And if you're not, then you'll be sold. Like, we sold Madueke, we have sold Veiga. So we are just flipping them for profit. And I think that is the case, that either you're at Chelsea level, we'll give you opportunity if either you're at Chelsea level, or we will sell you. And I think Strasbourg, what they're doing with Strasbourg is they're giving them a good team that can play in fresh stream. I think Strasbourg can have a good season. I think they have a very high chance of finishing in Champions League. Uh, and despite some pockets of Strasbourg fans not liking it, or I'm not sure why, because if your club is being successful and you're getting good players, what exactly is wrong with that? So I think it's a good platform for some players to develop at a low pressure, and then if they're good enough, they can join Chelsea, of course. And Strasbourg can also be like, be a competitor for PSG in French league. So I think this will be good platform for many players to develop with the BlueCo, and Chelsea just then have a way to develop these players and see if they have what it takes to join Chelsea, like we are doing with centers right now, right? So yeah, I think this is it from my side. If you do like the content, please please do like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon. Every bit of it helps. This is a new channel. We need all support we can get. This is only a few days old. So please do like the video if you like the content. Please subscribe, share with your friends, family, or Chelsea fans, and hit the bell notification icon so you know when the next video is up. I'll be in my upcoming video. I'll be talking about Chelsea's new kit. What are my thoughts about Chelsea's next match, and what is going on with the Christopher Nkunku and Nicholas Jackson sagas. So yeah, watch out for that. So I'll be uploading that video pretty soon too. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.